I can't necessarily remember when that realisation was there, because when you grow up in that family, in that environment, that's just what your parents do. It's been much more interesting watching our children growing up and watching our children.
Prince Edward, Duke of Kent, was born into royal duty, always near the throne, but never in its light. Known for his composure, duty, and unwavering service, he has stood beside three monarchs: King George VI, Queen Elizabeth II, and now King Charles III. But in his final days, Prince Edward revealed what no one expected, a secret that connected the late Queen's private will to a hidden message meant for Catherine, Princess of Wales. What was this message? Why was it so well protected? Join us as we delve into this story. The Duke's failing health and a promise. Between cousins. By early 2025, the Duke of Kent's health had visibly declined. At 89, his once steady stride hands slowed and his voice, though still sharp, often trembled from exhaustion. His daughter, Lady Helen Taylor, visited him often, bringing him tea and the latest reports from the palace. But those who knew him best could sense he was preparing for something. For a long time, Prince Edward had been a pillar of the royal family. Since the 1940s, he had represented Queen Elizabeth II more than any other family member, attending state events, remembrance services, and Commonwealth ceremonies with unfailing loyalty. Even as the monarchy evolved, he remained a constant, a reminder of what royal duty was meant to mean to the royals. But that was just the surface of what his presence meant. Behind that composure and outward efforts of assistance was a man who carried one of the Queen's most personal instructions and secrets. It was entrusted to him in quiet confidence years before her passing in 2022. An instruction that did not involve politics, not a crown, but a legacy of the late Queen's faith in the next generation. The Duke was one of Queen Elizabeth's most trusted people, and the extent of their closeness would not only leave you shocked, but also in deep respect for Prince Edward. He not only helped the Queen keep the monarchy running, the Queen's handwritten decree, sealed in an ivory envelope and stamped with the royal cipher, had remained in his possession all these years. Few even knew it existed. Not even the Queen's private secretary or the late Prince Philip had spoken of it. To understand the significance of what the Duke of Kent revealed, we must return to the closeness he shared with the late Queen. Born in 1935, Prince Edward was her first cousin. Their bond stretched beyond family ties. It was a closeness rooted in shared service, mutual understanding, and the heavy weight of royal responsibility. As the son of Prince George, the younger brother of King George VI, Edward grew up in the royal setting. Instead of fading into the background, he became a strong supporter of the crown. His military experience taught him discipline. After leaving the army, he committed fully to royal duties, regularly attending events like Trooping the Colour and other engagements. He represented the Queen with grace. To Queen Elizabeth, he was not just family, but dependable support. Their closeness developed through shared experiences and personal conversations. During one of these discussions, when her health was also a concern, she gave him the decree clearly stating it was for Catherine. This decree aimed to give Catherine absolute power, unlike any other spouse. Edward has held the title of Duke of Kent for over 83 years. He inherited the title at the age of 6 in 1942, following his father's death in a plane crash. Edward carried out engagements on behalf of Elizabeth II and is involved with over 140 charitable organizations. He was president of the All England Lawn Tennis and Croquet Club, presenting the trophies to the Wimbledon champion and runner-up, and served as the United Kingdom's Special Representative for International Trade and Investment, retiring in 2001. He went on to become Joint President of the Scout Association and President of the Royal United Services Institute and the Royal Institution of Great Britain, and since 1967, Grand Master of the United Grand Lodge of England. Edward has been Chancellor of the University of Surrey since June 1976. Much of his charity work revolves around war remembrance, technology, and the growth of British industry. He was one of the few who could speak to the Queen as Lilibet without hesitation. During her reign, she relied on him in countless ways, to stand in at ceremonies, to attend funerals abroad, to represent the monarchy when discretion was required. In many ways, he was the unseen anchor of the royal household. Although their private meetings were never documented, those close to the family knew the Duke often visited Windsor Castle during the Queen's later years. It was during one such visit, around 2018, when she handed him a sealed letter. Her health was beginning to waver, and she had become increasingly reflective. "Edward," she said softly, "there are things best left between families." And one day, Catherine will understand why Edward never asked what she meant. He didn't have to. The power she wanted to bestow on Catherine was not about titles or ceremonies. It was about influence, an opportunity to shape the royal family's future. The Queen had admired Catherine from the start. When William and Catherine married in 2011, she supported their union, believing Catherine could blend tradition with a modern touch, similar to how she had approached her role. The Queen's tone was calm but deliberate, making it clear this was more than a simple request. But that was only the beginning of the lifelong promise, the shocking revelation, and a promise fulfilled. Years later, when the Queen passed away in 2022, the Duke of Kent's grief was visible even behind palace walls. He stood silently beside King Charles at the state funeral, his medals glinting under the grey London sky. Few noticed his trembling hands or the envelope he kept inside his jacket. By 2025, as his own health deteriorated, he felt time slipping away. He knew the promise he made had to be fulfilled. The Duke of Kent's health showed signs of decline due to his long service. Still, he remained determined and loyal. His close family noticed he was moving more slowly and breathing more heavily. So one quiet evening, in a rare moment of vulnerability, he invited Catherine, the Princess of Wales, to sit with him. This was an unusual display of weakness from a man known for his strength. People believed this was an essential royal moment that would be remembered. Catherine had arrived discreetly. Those present said she looked both composed and concerned, her expression the same calm grace she was always known for. But her eyes were softer, uncertain. She had always admired the Duke's steadiness, his devotion to her grandmother-in-law. To Princess Catherine, Prince Edward was a link to the Queen's past that she wished to understand better. What did the ailing Duke reveal? Stay with us to find out. As she took a seat beside his bed, the Duke reached for her hand. The Duke shared stories about the late Queen, highlighting her wisdom, guidance during tough times, and quiet support. He also revealed more personal matters. His voice was faint from sickness, but his words carried the weight of generations. Eventually, he talked about a sealed letter the Queen had given him before her passing in 2022. "The Queen left you something, Hebe, not in jewels or title, but in trust." He gestured toward a small oak box on the bedside table. Inside was the envelope, slightly yellowed with age, its wax seal still intact. Catherine's breath caught as she saw the royal cipher. "This," he whispered, "was meant for you." The letter was brief, written in the Queen's precise handwriting, but its contents were both shocking and surprising. It began not with royal formalities, but with affection. In the letter, the deceased Queen Elizabeth expressed admiration for Catherine's grace, her to balance duty with warmth, a quality the Queen herself had valued deeply throughout her 70-year reign. But then came the line that changed everything. "I entrust to you the authority to continue what I began. You will bear the influence of the crown not as an ornament, but as its conscience." The decree outlined that Catherine, upon the Queen's passing, would inherit a symbolic yet powerful privilege, the authority to issue royal warrants in her own name. It was a shocking revelation. No Princess of Wales had done so in over a century. It was a subtle but meaningful transfer of trust, a sign that the Queen believed Catherine could guide the monarchy into a more modern, humane era. But that was not all. Enclosed within the letter was a delicate velvet pouch containing a necklace, one that was faintly pink under the soft light. The Duke explained its origin with tears in his eyes. What he revealed will surprise you. The pink diamond's legacy. The necklace's story stretched back nearly 80 years. In 1947, when the young Princess Elizabeth was to marry Prince Philip, a Canadian geologist named Dr. John Thorburn Williamson presented her with a rare 23.6 carat pink diamond, mined in Tanzania. It was said to be one of the purest of its kind, a gemstone so exceptionally beautiful that even Cartier's master craftsman hesitated to cut it. From that stone, the Queen commissioned a brooch in the shape of a jonquil flower, a design symbolizing devotion and resilience. She wore it often during state visits, weddings, and portraits. But in her later years, she had part of the diamond cut into a small pendant, one she wore only in private moments to remind her of the significance of the jewel. The Duke explained that before her passing, she had ordered the pendant to be refashioned into a necklace for Catherine, to remind her, as the Queen wrote, that beauty lies not in display, but in duty. When the Duke placed the necklace in Catherine's hands, it wasn't delight she felt, but the weight of the Queen's respect and trust. The piece was more than a jewel. It was an acknowledgement of her place in the royal family. For Catherine, the moment was overwhelming. Though known for her poise, she could not hide the emotion in her eyes. The late Queen had always been a quiet mentor to her, offering gentle guidance without intrusion. Catherine had learned much from observing her composure during crises, her faith in duty, her ability to remain still while the world demanded noise. Now, to learn that the Queen had entrusted her with something so intimate was beyond what she expected. It wasn't a matter of inheritance, it was a transfer of moral weight. Prince William, who stood silently in the corner, recognized the significance immediately. His grandmother had seen in Catherine what the monarchy needed to survive. She had discovered her daughter-in-law to be full of empathy, strength, and balance. The Duke's eyes filled with tears as he explained that the necklace symbolized strength, trust, and duty. Catherine accepted this with quiet respect, showing her famous humility and honor. The decree also included advice about keeping the family emotionally healthy, even under external pressures. This matched Princess Anne's comments about the family needing to stay strong as individuals, not just as a royal group. By mixing authority with care, the decree prepared Catherine for an important role, like the Queen's. It allowed her to advocate for mental health, family support, and environmental matters without typical restrictions. However, that was only a part of it. Royal observers noted that this mirrored the Queen's journey from rebuilding after the war to facing modern challenges. The Queen believed Catherine could carry on that legacy of resilience. The Queen wanted this information to stay private, a hidden legacy for future needs. As the Duke read her words, one line stood out: family first, duty second, but both intertwined. This principle guided Elizabeth's reign, and she wanted it to inspire Catherine. As the Duke of Kent rested back, his breathing shallower now, he said one final message: "The Queen believed you would carry the heart of the crown. Promise her you will." Catherine nodded. "I will." And in that quiet room, history seemed to fold upon itself, the past and future of the monarchy meeting in a single vow. Prince William was full of happiness and respect for Catherine. But how would the rest of the royal family accept this unexpected revelation? Stay with us to find out. When the contents of the Queen's decree eventually reached King Charles, he was both moved and unsurprised. He had long admired Catherine's steadiness and her ability to bring warmth to royal life. The late Queen's decision confirmed what he already believed, that Catherine's influence was not only valuable, but necessary. Privately, Charles authorized her to begin issuing royal warrants in 2025, making her the first Princess of Wales to do so since Alexandra, wife of Edward VIII, more than a century earlier. The move was both symbolic and strategic. King Charles, who faced health issues in 2024, found comfort in the Queen's words. He viewed them as support for his vision of a modern, streamlined monarchy. By lifting Catherine in this way, he believed it would help the monarchy better handle both personal challenges and public attention. His decision to allow her to issue royal warrants, a significant responsibility, wasn't merely symbolic. It gave her real influence over British culture and business, where her endorsement could impact entire industries and significant financial deals. The decree also resonated with the broader family. Princess Anne, known for her strong work ethic, reportedly approved when she heard the news, recalling past discussions with their mother about modernizing the monarchy. For her, empowering Catherine felt like a natural progression. On the other hand, Prince William was fully in support of her new role. Prince William had always admired his grandmother's sense of purpose, but it was Catherine who reminded him of her humanity. The late Queen had seen something special in the woman her grandson chose to marry, a steadiness and composure that mirrored her own. Now, with the Duke of Kent's revelation and the Queen's final decree fulfilled, William saw the full picture. His grandmother hadn't just accepted Catherine, she had anointed her in her own quiet way. Behind palace walls, their partnership began to evolve. Catherine's influence grew in subtle but meaningful ways. She attended more strategic briefings, consulted on royal patronages, and helped shape how the monarchy approached public engagement. The Queen's vision that the Princess of Wales would serve as both anchor and conscience was taking form. And as William prepared for the inevitable transition ahead, he knew that the monarchy's survival rested on their shared ability to stay both grounded and human. But William was not the only one affected by this shocking news. The Duke's family also felt the impact. His daughter, Lady Helen Taylor, shared how relieved her father was to fulfill this final promise to the Queen, viewing it as a testament of loyalty to a woman he had served his entire life. Even younger members like Princess Beatrice and Eugenie grasped the decree's importance. With the Queen's message now public and the necklace passed to Catherine, the Princess of Wales stood in a pivotal position for the monarchy's future. That was not all the decree meant for the royal family, and by extension, the country. It meant so much more. After the decree was publicized, financial analysts later noted that the inclusion of Catherine's name could boost the UK economy by billions, with British brands gaining the prestige of her endorsement. However, it was more than just money. Catherine could now shape culture and business according to her values. Her actions would help keep the royals relevant and relatable. In truth, the Queen's decree had little to do with economics. It was about longevity, ensuring the monarchy evolved beyond the rigid forms of the past. All Princess Anne did, upon hearing the news, was to smile and point out how much the late Queen would have appreciated the development. Even the younger royals, Beatrice, Eugenie, and Zara, felt the ripple of approval. They saw Catherine not as an outsider who had married in, but as the woman chosen to lead the family's quiet transformation. Many wondered what this decree meant for Princess Catherine and how she would handle it. The decree of continuity. Going forward, the Queen's decree, though private in intent, soon became known as the Order of Continuity among palace insiders. It wasn't filed among royal archives or proclaimed in council. It was something more sacred, a personal assurance from one woman of power to another. Its core message was simple and clear. She promoted the importance of putting family first, duty second, but keeping both intertwined. Those who knew the Queen best recognized the idea as hers. It had been her guiding principle throughout her reign, from her first televised Christmas speech in 1957 to her final appearances before the Jubilee crowds in 2022. It was how she kept her family intact through divorces, controversies, and generational change. For Catherine, those words became a mission statement. They informed her approach to every public engagement, every foundation project. every quiet moment spent guiding her children through the unique pressures of royal life. The new rule given to Princess Catherine by Queen Elizabeth was more important than many people thought. It was not just about approving warrants or handling paperwork. It changed how the royals operated and planned for the future. Insiders at the palace revealed that it gave Princess Catherine a key advisory role, placing her at the center of significant decisions. She was not just focused on keeping the family close and healthy. She was also helping to shape the royal family's overall strategy. Catherine's newfound acknowledgement could influence which charities receive royal support and adjust the rules for public appearances. She was no longer just a wife. She was now an essential part of the palace's functioning. This was a significant change because it moved away from centuries of tradition in which only the king or top family members had such power. Giving Catherine this role transformed her from a supporter to a full partner, preparing her for William's future as king. But that was not all. Sources close to King Charles say that to him, Catherine is capable and has shown her strength. Her resilience during the 2024 health challenges proved she has what it takes, which is crucial for the royals in today's fast-changing world. What makes this role even more exciting is its flexibility. There are no strict rules or limited duties, which allows her to influence the monarchy however it needs to in the future. This approach reflects the Queen's vision. The royals must adapt to survive. Previous spouses often had rigid roles focused solely on duty, lacking personal expression. Catherine has the opportunity to excel in areas she cares about, such as her work on early childhood development through her foundation. She also navigates public life with emotional intelligence, which has helped her gain support from many people. This is similar to how the Queen behaved, focusing on dependable duty and genuine warmth. By empowering Catherine, the Queen demonstrated that she trusted her to maintain this balance of strength and kindness while blending traditional practices with modern ideas. The decree represented a new direction for the royal family, highlighting Catherine, the Princess of Wales, as a leader for the future. Like Queen Elizabeth, Catherine was to help younger royals stay strong in the public eye. Her necklace featuring rare pink diamonds symbolizes her essential role and connects the past with the monarchy's future. It showed Catherine's growth from a shy newcomer to a key figure in royal life. Many people were eager to see when she would wear the necklace at a significant event, signaling her partnership with Prince William. Catherine focuses on mental health, early childhood, and the environment, which aligns with the late Queen's vision for a modern monarchy. She also discussed updates to royal warrants to highlight ethical brands, making the monarchy more relevant today. The decree allowed Catherine to support William as his wife and equal partner, balancing tradition with new ideas. A few weeks after that private moment in the Duke's room, the quiet halls of Kensington Palace echoed with shocking news. The Duke of Kent had passed away peacefully in his sleep. His daughter, Lady Helen Taylor, described his final evening as serene, as if he had completed the one task left unfinished. The news was met with a subdued wave of grief across Britain. He had been a figure of quiet dignity, a bridge between eras, from the wartime resilience of George VI to the modern monarchy of Charles III. But among those who knew him best, there was comfort in knowing that before his death, he had fulfilled the Queen's last personal command. Catherine attended his private memorial at St. George's Chapel in Windsor, where sunlight streamed through the stained glass, catching faint glints of pink from the small diamond pendant she wore discreetly beneath her coat. Few noticed it, but those who did understood its meaning. Not long after the Duke's passing, another detail about the Queen's decree emerged, one even the Duke himself might not have fully known. Among the late Queen's private correspondence, a historian at Windsor discovered an entry in her personal journal dated 2019. It mentioned the pink diamond again, but this time the Queen wrote of it in metaphorical terms. Soon after, Catherine found herself being questioned for receiving a royal gift. But was that really the case? The truth behind her gift will leave you shocked. What many didn't realize was that the necklace had been intentionally left out of the crown jewels. It belonged to her privately, meaning she could pass it to whomever she chose without parliamentary record. In her will, it was listed not under jewelry of state, but under personal effects. That small distinction made it Catherine's alone. The discovery deepened the public's fascination. The press began calling it the Elizabeth Order, interpreting it as the Queen's last symbolic act to ensure the monarchy's emotional survival. But for Catherine, the necklace was not for public display. It remained tucked away, seen only during rare family occasions. When Catherine began issuing royal warrants later that year, it was more than a ceremonial act. She chose her endorsements carefully, supporting small British brands that focused on sustainability, mental health initiatives, and women-led businesses. It was a departure from the old model of royal favor, one that had often been tied to prestige and longevity. Catherine's approach reflected her modern sensibility. She upheld duty balanced with conscience. Following the revelation of the late Queen's wishes upon the royal family, much has changed, yet much remains the same. The monarchy still holds ceremonies, but within its heart beats something new, a new change. In the quiet passing of a long-held secret, from a frail old duke to a young princess of Wales, an important thread of history was woven tighter. Though the Duke of Kent is gone, and Queen Elizabeth rests with her ancestors, the legacy of their trust endures, in the simple grace of a woman who carries both crown and conscience. What do you think of Princess Catherine's new role? Do you think Queen Elizabeth made the right decision? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Remember to like, share, and subscribe for more. Also, click the following video shown on your screen. You will enjoy it.